It is time to review some Dynasty rosters. That is right. I'm going to be diving into one of our members' Dynasty rosters, walking you through the moves I would make, how to assess your Dynasty roster, and how you can be utilizing this offseason to make your Dynasty team even better. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Sanctuary. That is right, we're going to be walking through yet another Dynasty roster review. This is one of our members' teams that he has submitted to me. I'm going to walk you through what his current roster looks like, how I break it down, and what are some of the recommendations I would be looking to do it. So let's dive into the roster. As you can see, 3 quarterbacks up top, no kind of elite QB1, but 3 solid QB2s, so not the worst place to be. The running back room, again, it sounds similar. No elite running back one, but some decent RB2s in Rashad White, Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard. And then over at the wide receiver position, 2 studs, those 2 high priced, young, hopefully ascending talents, Amon St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, and then a bunch of young guys with potential, Lab McConkey, Keon Coleman, Jahan Dotson, Josh Downs. And then at the tight end position, it's a little bit of a question mark. We've got Chiga Okonkwo, who's got some talent. We've got Davis Allen, who flashed in spells last year. And then obviously Will Mallory, Zach Kuntz as well. Picks, he's got his own 2025 first and second and his own 2026 picks. No additional picks. So how does this roster look when we stick it through the traffic light system? As you can see, some decent greens. The wide receiver position's got those 2 studs up the top. The bench looks good, although he is a little bit lacking in that elite talent at quarterback and running back, as I said, and tight end. The less said about it, the better. It is a little bit of a black hole, shall we say, with Chigakonkwo is tight end 1, who is my tight end 25. So what are some moves that I would be making? Before we get to that, though, we are closing in on 2,500 subscribers. It is a fantastic number, a phenomenal number, but we want to get there even closer. You can help us do that. Hit that little subscribe button down below, and you get us one step closer to that phenomenal number. So recommendations, I think you have got some elite talent at young ages. However, you have got 2 gaping holes. There is that QB1 and that tight end spot. The question I've got to ask is, do the Q3 QB2s allow you to compete? I always say that everybody wants those QB1s, everyone wants that elite talent, but they are the toughest thing to go and acquire in a dynasty roster. So, if you can't go out and get an elite QB1, can you have a plethora of QB2 types that you can platoon, play the matchups, and get elite production despite not having the elite talent? So, do those Q3 QB2s do that? Maybe not. I think you've got some upside there with the likes of Matt Stafford. You know, we've seen him have phenomenal fantasy seasons. Bryce Young, the talent is still there, but I just don't know if you've got the ceiling. So maybe you need to look at adding another option potentially in there. Suggested moves. So the QB2, the QB room, as I said, can you add another option in? Can you platoon the 3 guys and make it a 4? I would look at maybe sending a second round pick to go and get an Aaron Rodgers or a Geno Smith. I value both of those as worth more than the second round pick, but I don't think the market does right now. I think if you had 4 QB2s that you could afford to play the matchups, would give you the bye week cover, would give you a little bit of injury insurance, I think that could be a move that would allow you to compete right now. Or do you want to get really aggressive? Can you send Bryce Young and a 2025 first to go and get a quarterback like Kyler? I'm pretty high on Bryce Young. I still believe in the talent. So maybe you can't make that move in consensus, but you get nothing for not asking the question. I think you need to reach out, ask that question, and can you buy up at quarterback? That would give you a little bit better of a platoon that you could run with. I think, if we go back and look at that room, Bryce Young, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, you had a third in there. It sort of gives you QB1 almost by definition because you're able to play across all of them. The next move I would be looking to make is this tight end room. Look, Chiga Okonkwo, he's got some talent. I quite like him as an upside QB2 or 3, but he's not getting it done. Can you go and buy low on a tight end that could give you some sneaky production this year? Evan Ingram, I think, is so undervalued. He's the forgotten guy. He still produces. I think the offense is going to take a step forward. I think you can go and buy him for a 2025 second right now. I love that move, and I think that gives you an answer at the tight end position. Might not be elite, but it's no longer a gaping hole. And could you go cheap? do you just want to add some options? A bit like I was saying about quarterback room, can you platoon 3 or 4 tight ends and kind of hope that they get some upside? Hunter Henry, I think he's grossly undervalued again at the moment. I think that offense, nobody wants a part of the Patriots offense, but I think Hunter Henry had some flashes last year, and he could be a solid tight end too, and certainly give you some upside there alongside Jigga Okonkwo. The final move that I would be looking to make is I think you can consolidate some of your wide receiver depth for a wide receiver 3 upgrade. And what I mean, if we go back and look at the roster, he's got some elite talent at the top. He's got Amon St. Brown, he's got Malik Neighbors, but there is a drop off at wide receiver 3. But he's got kind of 4 or 5 options. If you look at this roster, he's got Lab McConkey, he's got Keon Coleman, he's got John Dotson, he's got Josh Downs. A lot of that depth is just wasted because it's never getting anywhere near your starting roster. So can you go and make a 2-for-1 trade? Can you go and send Lab McConkey and Josh Downs for Rashee Rice? I wonder if you don't even know to pay up for and add in Josh Downs. Could you send Lamb McConkey in a third for Rashee Rice the way he's valued right now? Could you go and make a bigger swing? Could you go and send 2 rookies, Keon Coleman, Lamb McConkey, and go and get someone like a DJ Moore? Maybe you could pay up, get T. Higgins or Devonta Smith. I think there's plenty of talent there. Those are some moves I would be looking to make to kind of give you that more consolidated wide receiver room. As I talked about in my previous video at this, when I broke it down, I'm not worried about anyone outside my core roster. And what I'm talking about that is starters and then a backup in each position. This is what I'm talking about my core roster. So I'm looking to try and turn as many of these green as possible. I'm not worried about depth beyond that because you're just not going to start there. You're just not going to get to that point. So can I consolidate that? Can I build out that roster? And can I turn this team into a team that contend this year? Let me know in the comments below. Are there any of those moves you disagree with? Are there any of those moves that you wouldn't be touching? And of course, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back very soon for yet another Dynasty roster review.